Hello, Faelan Shiva here with stars and cards for the Everyday Priestess channel, wherein I will give us a 2-week astrology forecast and a little bit of divination at the end. So tonight, technically 3:35 a.m. tomorrow morning, we have the new moon in Cancer conjunct Jupiter. So that's Wednesday, June 25. I can't remember the exact time. It might be 3:32. If you follow my socials and you see my tarot spread right up, it's on there. But somewhere around 3:30 in the morning. So a new moon in Cancer really invites us to go inward. It has that new moon retreat energy, the kind of retreat that is meant for renewal. And in Cancer, Cancer also represents this inner sanctuary place that we go to, where we sink our roots in, where we have our most personal inner lives. It can be home, family, chosen family as well, ancestors, really intuitive empathy, caregiving, and healing. So that's our new moon in Cancer, but it's conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and I've really been feeling into this Jupiter in Cancer transit, and I have had a lot of experiences that actually feel like the Ten of Cups in tarot. And if you aren't familiar with this card, there's a couple holding hands, and they're probably their children, running around in a sunlit meadow, and there's a rainbow, and everyone feels really nurtured and cared for. And even though I fully acknowledge the globe is chaos, some of our neighborhoods are chaos, there's a lot of not Ten of Cups energy out there, but there are these moments available to us where we really get to feel like our cups are full, and we need to take them all. We need them. So for this new moon that is tonight, tomorrow morning in particular, we have this opportunity to really care for ourselves with radical generosity. And that doesn't mean the problems out there go away, but it does mean that we take the time to resource ourselves to be able to deal with it. So I highly recommend cleaning your house if that's something that makes you feel nourished. It does for me. Like, my sanity comes from organizing things and cleaning my house, but I'm Virgo rising. Clean your house, make a wonderful meal, share it with your family or close friends. Please remember, whenever I say the word family, I also mean chosen family. We have these big feelings. There's a lot going on in the world. Jupiter in Cancer really brings those big feelings to the surface, and we need a safe space to talk about them. So tonight, tomorrow are really good opportunities for us to truly connect with the people that we're close to and share the good things in life. Food, conversation, sex, whatever it is, whatever it is that you enjoy sharing, a night of games with the kids, just something that really makes you feel safe and at home. And in my write-up for the tarot spread, I talked about how this is not ignoring the world's problems. This isn't being an ostrich with your head in the sand. This isn't like, la la la, if I don't look at it, it's not happening. But we have to take breaks. We have to come back to ourselves and remember what's important to us in our bodies, souls, hearts, and minds. What is important to us, and nurture that so that we have the capacity to be useful on a bigger scale. So that's our invitation for the new moon tonight. And there are a couple other things happening, but the biggest other thing that's happening in this 2-week period is Uranus entering Gemini. Uranus only changes signs about every 7 years. It takes him 84 years to get around the whole zodiac. Uranus has been in Taurus. So Uranus has this lightning bolts, intellectual, technology, future, out-of-the-box energy that is really wired into change, revolution, evolution of humanity, rebellion, freedom, individuation. So that is a really big shift for this planet of I will be free at all costs. Uranus is a very radical planet, not really subtle. Though sometimes those big shifts come in lightning bolts of awake, lightning bolts of awareness, perception changes. But sometimes they come in like, I'm going to break down this whole system because it sucks and we need to build a new one. Entering the sign of Gemini, communication, language, thinking, technology, a lot of alphabets, math, words, language, but also our own perception. So I feel like with Uranus, nobody knows what's going to happen when that guy enters the room. That guy, that gal, that them enters the room. You just don't know. But you know things are going to be different. So this big change maker walking into entering the sign of technology and information and perception and media and the news and chaos. Gemini carries a lot of chaos in it. This is going to be a huge shift. A lot of it is going to be around information, right? So I think the highest aim that we can have with Uranus and Gemini is for us to really steer that ship as well as we can by choosing to be very authentic, very true to our own voices and to our own perceptions. I think that the news is already an absolute shit show of some truth surrounded by a metric fuck ton, pardon my language, but it's an intense time, of misinformation, disinformation, smoke and mirrors, biases. It's just, how can you tell what's really going on out there? And so Uranus and Gemini is going to really demand that we believe what we see in front of us. Make our choices based on, when I say what feels real, it feels like a slippery slope, because I don't mean like, I don't feel like believing that. I don't mean like confirmation bias. I mean like when you really drop into a meditative state and you are using your whole being to feel the truth. I mean like that. And I also think that one of the most important things that we can strive for is the liberation of our true voice, especially for women, especially for any oppressed people whose voices have been silenced. You know who you are, and it's time to set that voice free. I do actually have some programs that I'm developing on setting that voice free. That's something I'm really focused on at this time. I think it's so important. So if you are like, how do I do that? Just send me a message and I'll let you know about the offerings I have coming in that regard. So Uranus and Gemini is a big one. Expect chaos, expect things to blow up. I don't necessarily mean with explosives and buildings, though we already have that occurring. I mean radical change that is uncomfortable, because we don't like change. We're humans. We like homeostasis. We just want things to calm down and be manageable, and to understand what the rules are. That's how I feel anyway. You know, like, can we just chill for a minute? And no, the answer is no, we cannot. We are at a turning of the ages, and a lot of the old systems are collapsing so that new ones can be built. But that's not a pretty transition, as we can see. So that one's a really big one. And when I went to pick up my cards, because I always pull a card at the end of this, I pulled out my cards, and this is the card that was on top, looking straight at me. And so usually I pull a card, but this felt like it, because the Six of Swords to me is very Uranus. I often use this card on my altar when I am trying to understand the Uranian assignment. I've, over the last couple of years, had a lot of Uranus transits on my personal birth chart, upending my whole life. And this card came up so much, and I call it the Trust the Boatman card. In this card, things have changed, and it was not a comfortable change based on the posture of the people who are the passengers. They don't know where they're going, but it's a 6. 6 on the Tree of Life is for balance. So, yes, things are chaotic, but we want to trust the boatman. And it's tricky because we can't just sit back and be like, oh, well, whatever's going to happen is for the best. We have to also participate. So while all this is changing, while the world around us is changing and shifting and growing and crumbling and all of the things, it's really important that we stay true to our own vision of the world we want to create, our own vision for our immediate bubble of family and community, and try to navigate using our intuition and keeping that vision as our North Star, because things are going to change all around us. Yeah. Finding our voice is our assignment for at least the next 7 years. And I will say quickly, we have a whole bunch of retrogrades coming up. It's about to be retrograde season. So really quickly, the other things happening, Thursday, June 26th, Mercury enters Leo. And July 4th, Venus enters Gemini just before Uranus enters Gemini. I don't know if I said the date, but it's July 7th that Uranus enters Gemini. Then on July 4, Neptune turns retrograde in Aries, soon to be followed by Saturn and Mercury also going retrograde. So don't freak out about retrogrades. They're a natural part of our process. It's like some experiences we have are very external and some are very internal, and we need both. And retrogrades are just a more internal experience and a chance to go back and see if there's anything we want to change about the course we're on. So that's a lot. Make sure to spend this new moon time really nurturing yourself, nourishing yourself, healing yourself, talking about your big feelings, because it will help as we go forward into a cycle of big change. Okay, if you would like to see how any of this affects your personal birth chart or are looking for other birth chart guidance, you can book an astrology reading or a tarot reading with me on my website, roseofvenus.com. And happy new moon.